In case you're not here when we cover the template, our first draft of our essay, the admissions flaw writing, there's a couple things I want to point out. First of all, this is really more of an editorial. An editorial is an opinionated essay. Um, However, we are still asking that you don't use words like I, me, and my in this. It is persuasive. It's just an editorial is a shorter version of an essay. Now, as you look at the prompt, I just want to point out one thing that the actual thing we're writing about is in bold. So we're going to point out a problem with the current um, college admission system, and we're going to come up with a way to resolve it, to fix it. So that is what we're focusing on in this editorial. You're going to notice that the first thing they ask for is an intro paragraph, and it's broken up into parts. The first thing they look for is a rhetorical question, which is a question, but it's a question you have to think about. You can't answer it with a yes or no. By the end of the editorial, the end of the writing, people should have an answer. Or a shocking statement, but it has to tie into the topic, which is once again dealing with the college admission scandal. And that's going to be about part A is going to be like a sentence. Part B, briefly. When we say briefly, we're talking a sentence or two. In general, how do people get into college? What do colleges look for in students? You may have to go back and use, how applications are reviewed or what colleges want, one of those articles. So, depending on what you use, you might have to cite, do a citation. Part C, briefly, once again, one or two sentences max. Review the situation with the college admission scandal. What are some of the bad, shady things that were happening? The last part of this intro paragraph is really the thesis. You're going to state why the college admission scandal is a problem. You're going to need a subject and a controversy. So, by stating why the college admission scandal and these shady behaviors hurt people, you've got a subject and a controversy. How long is this paragraph? 4 to 6 sentences. Now, notice it is going to ask, where would you indent? It's only one place in that paragraph. And are you going to need transitions? Probably, because there's 4 parts, so you're going to need at least a couple transitions. Then we move on to the body paragraph. And these are the paragraphs we've been writing all year. So the first thing says, state what this paragraph will examine. Well, once again, if you go back to the prompt, the part in bold is kind of giving you a hint as to what we're writing about. You could turn that into a topic sentence or, reword it, but we do have to bring up that, there are flaws with the college admissions process, but there's also going to be a solution. Then, our first claim, give me one flaw. We wrote a paragraph on this earlier, so you might be able to go back into that paragraph and point out or use the exact same information. No I, no me, no my. Then, of course, it's not just enough to say, hey, there's a problem. You've got to prove it really is a problem. So give me a setup according to the article as stated by the author. Give me that direct quote with the citation. Whatever evidence you pick, whatever direct quote you use, it has to tie in directly to your claim from Part B. Then you're going to explain the quote. You're going to explain the evidence. What is it really saying? Now, to do that, you normally just take the quote and simplify it, put it in your own words so someone in like the fifth grade would understand what the quote is really saying. But you also have to point out why that piece of evidence is so important. What bad thing happened because of this problem? Who was hurt by it? How were they hurt by it? You want to address those things. So the explanation is going to be longer. It's going to be more than one sentence. Don't forget to cite materials, whether you copy them word for word or paraphrase, summarize them, put them in your own words. Now, here's the thing. Because this is an argument, we're going to have a counterclaim and rebuttal. So part E, give a reason why someone might not like what you've said or is going to challenge what you're saying. Maybe they're going to think it's not really a problem or it's not really that bad. Prove them wrong in the next part. Point out what they're thinking is misinformed, incorrect, or just straight out wrong, but do it politely. Then your next claim is actually going to be the solution. Now, your solution, whatever it is, has to solve the problem you mentioned from part B of this paragraph. And here you're going to give a setup again, evidence, and a citation, unless the solution you're recommending is one you created and it's not in any of the articles. In that case, you still have to state the solution, but then give an example of what people would have to do specifically or how the solution would look. And that's only if you didn't pick something in an article that was already written. But we did in a paragraph write a solution, so you might be able to go back into that paragraph and use some of the same stuff, maybe all of it. Now, explanation here, you're going to have to explain how the solution will work to solve the problem. Yeah. How do we know it's going to work? How do we know it's really going to help? And the concluding sentence. So now what did we prove? Of course, where do you indent? Where do you need transitions? Where did you use citations? Don't forget about those things. And it does say go to the next page, so we're going to go to the next page. All right, here. The concluding paragraph, fairly short, restate the thesis. So go back into your intro paragraph. And this part D, whatever you wrote here in this section, same idea, different words. Use synonyms. So it doesn't sound like you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. Restate the problem and the solution, same idea, different words. And then you're going to do a call to action. How can the reader or the audience who's reading your work in general, what specifically can they do to fix the problem? Should this tie into your solution? Yes, but now you need to think about how other people can step up and help out. What do the rest of us need to do to make sure this solution is working? Once again, where do you indent? Where do you need transitions? And that's what we're doing for this assignment. It's like a mini essay, or we call it an editorial. It's opinionated. You're putting your ideas in, but you're also proving what you're saying and that what you think is really a problem and your solution will really work. That's what we're going to look for in this assignment. Of course, grammar matters. Complete sentences, very important. Yep. May the force be with you.